Hi, I'm Romney, and thanks again for joining me on my YouTube channel. Now, this edition is a special edition because it's all about creating KDP books, loading them up, and the process and the steps you need to take. Now, the tutorial will run for approximately 90 minutes, and I'm going to try and condense as much as I can into those 90 minutes, drawing on videos and information that I've provided previously, but trying to give you the best information I can to be able to help you to create, build, and scale your self-publishing business. If you haven't been to the channel before, make sure that you subscribe, give me the thumbs up, and hit that notification bell because I'm creating new videos all the time about KDP and self-publishing. So in a moment, I'm going to start the tutorial and run you through the process. And I really hope you get something out of it. And it's going to be one of those tutorials where I think you'll get a lot of information and you'll be able to start implementing that information to start or even continue your KDP publishing journey. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to my KDP free 90-minute KDP low content publishing tutorial. Now, this is going to be one of those tutorials where I really try and provide as much information as I can in the time that I have. And obviously, I can't condense a really comprehensive KDP tutorial in 90 minutes because realistically, it's taken me over 12 months to actually get all the information I can to be able to make my KDP publishing successful. But I will do my very best. So let's get into what KDP publishing is and how it's going to help you to create passive income and create books and also create a great business model for you moving forward. So let's get into it right now. So the tutorial will cover the introduction to KDP, and what it is, what does it look like, how to create an account for KDP Amazon, the software that I use to help me to scale and to create the books that I do have, niche selection or niche, depends what country you're in and how you pronounce it, but niche selection and making sure that we're finding the right areas to create our books in, because competition can be quite fierce in some niches, so we need to be careful with that selection. No and low content interiors, and we'll talk about what no and low content is to start with as well. We're going to look at cover design and the key elements, title and subtitle generation, and also finally the upload process, including description, keywords, pricing, etc. Right, so let's get into the next bit. Introduction to KDP and what it is. So Amazon have a area or a component of the business called Kindle Direct Publishing. And Kindle Direct Publishing allows for self-publishers to create books without having to go through the big publishers that traditionally you had to do to get a book to be sold. Now, KDP offers what they call print on demand. Now, print on demand is the ability for publishers to be able to load their books up to Amazon, and they actually don't hold any printed books in their factories, in their warehouses. As soon as someone purchases your book on Amazon, it is printed within pretty much 24, 48 hours and then distributed from that warehouse. So they don't have any inventory or books sitting there, and that's what's called print on demand. Now, what are low and no content books? Well, low content books, which is this one over here, could include things like colouring books, children's workbooks, for example, like letter tracing, log books, any sort of books where you've got sort of writing and information on each page. No content books, on the other hand, are generally like lined manuscripts, which could include journals, they could include blank scrapbooks, any of those sort of things where you just might have a couple of very small introduction pages, but the rest of the book is lined or no very little or no content at all in the books. Not saying it's low quality, it's just no content. So the process, let's have a look at that. The process with KDP, the starting point is your selection or your niche. So is it to do with letter tracing or educational workbooks for kids? Are they gratitude journals? Are they journals for or logbooks for fishing, for finding out about when you get your car serviced or repaired? They're just different niche selections, and there's thousands of them. The next part, so that would be the first part, is making sure we choose the right niche. Next part is the book creation, so the physical process of creating your manuscript, creating your cover, getting the description organized, the keywords, so the main words that you're going to be using as part of your title, subtitle, your description, and also using the right keywords where people are searching for them. Then we've got our upload process, so that is when we actually put our book up onto KDP. And then finally is the marketing, so getting eyeballs onto your book to make sure people are aware that it exists and that we can actually sell our book. So that's the first part. The pros and cons. So why do I like KDP, and what issues could you potentially come up against? So let's look at the pros. So with KDP Publishing, it is free to upload your book. You do have other platforms, for example, like Ingram Spark. I've used them previously, and it's another global distribution partner to Amazon, actually. However, if you use another platform, they might charge you to upload your manuscript and your cover. For example, Ingram Spark charge at this point in time $49. But on KDP, you can upload it for free, your book, and you can make multiple or ongoing changes to your cover or your manuscript if you have an error or there's a change required for free, which is excellent. You don't actually have to provide what they call an ISBN, which is your book identification number, or you do have to provide it, but they give it to you for free, whereas you do have to, go through other processes or ways of publishing, you do have to purchase an ISBN. It's free to create the books, so yes, there are paid software programs, and I'm going to be talking about those, but you can create your books and load them to KDP for free, which is fantastic. You have global distribution. You have the biggest bookseller in the world distributing your book across the world to many, many different countries. So that is an incredible opportunity for you to get that exposure. Amazon do all the heavy lifting. So once you load your book, they will print it, they will distribute it, they will take care of any customer service inquiries, they will deal with returns, they will deal with the refunds, and then at the end of it all, you get a royalty payment. Now, there is a split cost between what Amazon will receive. It's a 60-40 split, 60% to the author, 40% to KDP. But I think that's a very, very good deal, given the fact that they do all the heavy lifting. There is no limit to your growth as part of this business model. So you can create books with KDP and you can continue to create them for the next 20 years or longer, and there's no limit on how many books you can create. With saying that, though, I would always advocate for quality over quantity. So make sure you focus on that. The passive income stream you can create is incredible. And I've known of people that created books 3 or 4 years ago, haven't touched anything since, and continue to get an income stream from using KDP. So it is very, very good. And you can use KDP across many, many countries across the world. So there's very little limitations to where you're located in the world and your eligibility to be able to create KDP. There might be a few countries, unfortunately, that still might be in that bracket. However, on the whole, most countries, you can become an author for KDP Self-Publishing. The cons. So there can be a delayed result from your effort. So I see and hear people saying that they created 30 books and they haven't received any sales, or they've received sales but they haven't been paid. So you can be putting a lot of effort in regards to creating your books, and the risk is that you do not know whether that book is going to be selling, whether it's going to be something that customers are looking for. So there is that risk, and the delay from your effort and energy and sometimes financial investment can be delayed, and I've found that personally. There is increasing competition because of the fact that it is free to upload and their books are free to create. So you've just got to be aware of that. But that's where the importance of your niche research will be really important. Sales can fluctuate a lot, meaning you can have up and down months and it's not consistent. You do have an increase in sales, what we call Q4, which is from October through to December as we move towards Christmas. And then you have other times of the year where there might be special events like Mother's Day or Father's Day, Halloween, Easter, those sorts of events, and you can get fluctuation during those periods of time. And unfortunately, like most businesses, there's no guarantee of success. So you can create 100 books, but you may not get much success from it, and it comes down to a few elements which I will cover in regards to this tutorial as well. So my journey, how did I go in my first 12 months? Well, I created a couple of videos, my first 3 months on KDP and my first 12 months and the truth. And so in those videos, I actually run through my results. So I started off just before this period of time. It was about December 2019, but during the first 3 months, I think I sold about 5 or 6 books. So it can be very, very frustrating to start. But as you can see, I made some changes, I learnt a lot, I adapted, I continued to improve, and therefore my sales started to increase. And you can see that over that journey, it really started to take off for the December period of time. And for my first year, the total income was $19,320.39. Now that's 379 books is currently what I have. It's not what I had last year. It was probably more like maybe 150 books. But you can see with persistence and with resilience, you can continue to build your income and don't give up at this point in time or even this point in time, because you can see a month later, it can start to increase if you continue to focus. So how do you create a free account with KDP? So what you need to do, and I'll leave this link in the description, you go to this address here, and that will take you directly to the website of KDP. So this is where you'll end up when you put that address in, and you would simply go, don't have an account. If you don't have an account, you sign up here and you complete the details. Now, KDP or Amazon will ask you for information about your country, your tax information. So you need to put all of that information in there so that if royalties do start coming, that they can pay you. Now, KDP pay every 60 days, meaning that if you had sales in January, then you would end on the 30th of January, then you wouldn't be paid your January income until March. So it's 60 days. At the end of March, you would receive your January payment. So that's where you just need to be conscious if you're creating your books and you're maybe putting money into your books to start with, you won't see the income until 60 days later as well. And I created a tutorial about how to upload books to KDP. We will be going through that near the end of this tutorial. However, that is an excellent video if you want to follow the easy steps to do it. So that's a video. And what I'll be doing throughout this tutorial is referring to different videos that I've already created, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel and give you information that I already have, which is nice and clear and nice and easy to follow. So I'll leave the links to each of these videos I refer to in the description, and you can watch those, and there's so much more information in those videos as well that I just simply can't cover in the 90 minutes that we have in this section. So let's have a look at the software that I use as well. And you can, as I mentioned, you can create books for KDP for free. But, and there is a but, if you want to use these softwares, there are obviously limitations with what you get with the free versions of these. If you are looking to scale up your publishing business and make a full-time income, then I'd recommend looking at investing in some of these software products, because they will help you with finding what the book niches, our keywords, which I've referred to and will refer to in this video. They also speed the process up, and I find that the quality of product that I create is much, much better, and these investments have well and truly paid for themselves 30 times over. And it was just a matter of taking that leap of faith, backing myself in to know that I would create great books that customers are going to like, and these software tools have really helped. Now, I've got a Gumroad shop, and there's a free download about the tools that I use, which includes these ones. And I do have some links in there which permit you to get discounts on some of these, not all of these. And as a disclaimer, I do receive a small commission from those, but you would not have, you wouldn't be paying any more. In fact, on some of them, you pay less by using that affiliate link. So just check that out if any of these are suitable, but we'll be going through some of these anyway during the tutorial. But there's BookBolt, there's a free and paid monthly subscription option. Publisher Rocket, that's a one-off lifetime access. Helium 10, it's free. There's a free version and paid monthly subscription option as well. Canva, you can use the free, but again, there's a pro version that you can pay a monthly subscription. There's KD Spy, that's a one-off payment and lifetime access. Fiverr, you might have heard of Fiverr before if you want to do book creation or a lot of other things. You can outsource people, so it's pay as you need. And then Grammarly Pro, there is a free version, but there is also the paid monthly subscription option, which is called Grammarly Pro, and that I use for ensuring that my books are as best I can in regards to grammar free, and I use it for my descriptions as well. Now, when we look at using KDP, we can get some free Chrome extensions as part of Google. So I use Google Chrome, and I would definitely recommend you downloading these two Chrome extensions. So one is called AMS Extension Expander. That looks like this, and then DS Amazon Quick View, and it looks like this. So I'm going to show you why I use these tools in a moment, and I'll jump on KDP and I'll just show you these two Chrome extensions at work. So if we're on Amazon, the two Chrome extensions, so with the Quick View, you can actually see, so this number here, there, that's called the BSR, and it's where your book is ranking on Amazon. So that's the #1 book on Amazon right now. And if you scroll down, this one's ranked at number 23. You've also got different. You can Quick View DS Amazon Quick View Extended can give you more data and information like price history and information, but that'll bring it up here. Now the other one was the your keyword expander. So if I was looking for kids activity books like this will bring me up this expander will bring up different information. So traditionally it would just bring me up those two, but the expander Chrome extension will bring up all these different, and these are really good for keyword research and what customers are actually searching for as well. So that is the second Chrome extension that I definitely recommend you get, and you can see why it would be really good. And you can you can obviously upgrade if you want to see more search volume details as well. So as I mentioned, you can create books with KDP for free. You can use the Chrome extensions for free. I mentioned that you've got different softwares that you can use which come free with a limited sort of usage. However, if you wanted to check, if you want to see whether KDP Publishing was right for you for the first few months, then absolutely you can get by using free versions of these softwares as well. So that's just something to consider. So let's move on to the next section. So niche selection is a critical element of getting your book seen, and also to sell more books, because if you select a niche that is highly competitive, it makes it very hard for your book when you do load it up and get it out on Amazon for customers to actually see it. So I want to talk about some considerations, and I created a really comprehensive video called Niche Research Exposed. And I've got the video here, and I would highly recommend you look at it or watch it, and I'll provide the link as well in the description, because again, that video goes for about 15 minutes and we'll go through all these points plus more. So our considerations when we create a book, we shouldn't, I made the mistake, let me start there. I made the mistake when I first created my first couple of books that I went into highly competitive niches, and therefore I was never going to be seen, and I needed to refine my niche research so that I was in less competitive spaces and that I was able to sell more books and get my book ranking on KDP. So if someone was doing a search, if they found page 1 and did some, just say I was doing a fishing logbook, then if someone typed fishing logbook in for kids, then you'd want your book to feature, in the first page if possible. But when I was doing my initial niche research, I just went into niches that were way, way too competitive. So that's a big learning curve for me. So our considerations, we need a high need, if possible, and low competition. So the rules, we use the average BSR. So remember, the BSR is the sales rank that your book is on Amazon. It might be ranked 55,000. It could be 2,325,000. It will give you a BSR ranking based on that Chrome extension that I provided you previously. And we also want low competition. So when we do our search, and I'll show you in a moment, our search results are the number of books that will appear under that keyword, and we're aiming for under 2,000 search results. So let me give you a very quick example, but as I said, watch that niche research video, and that will give you some more information and detail. So a quick way would be to, if you're doing niche research, you've got all the main categories on the left-hand side down here. We want to obviously, work through categories that we probably are not as competitive as, like self-help section can be highly competitive. We sort of want to find those untapped niches that do have a need, but the less competition. But let me give you a bit of an example of what I mean by an average BSR or BSR search results and an average rank. So let's have a look at, if we did ABC letter tracing. So that would be what they call a short tail keyword. This would be a longer tail keyword. So if we just did ABC letter tracing for preschoolers, let's have a look. It brings up 10,000 results. In the video, I'll talk about the importance of trying to find keywords that have under 2,000 search results. And then what we're looking for is this BSR. We would like about 4 or 5 that are under about 150,000. So if this was just the results were 2,000, and we looked at this and we go, okay, there's one, this is under 150,000. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so 9. So you would have your you'd have your 5 or 4 or 5 that are under 150,000, but our search results are way too high. So if we scroll back up here and we did preschoolers aged 8 to 12, let's have a look and see whether that reduces the search results. So now we got 385 So that ticks the box. It's under 2,385 search results. You could be looking under all departments as well, because some people don't look under books. They look under all departments. So if we did all departments and had a look there, let's see what the search results, 383. And if we scroll down and have a look at how many books we have with a BSR under 150,000 on page 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this main page would probably tick all the right boxes for what we wanted. So it meets, we wanted search results under 2,000, and we wanted this keyword to give us a BSR average rank, under 150,000 across about 5 different books on page 1. So it ticks those boxes. So they're the kinds of things that you need to look for niche research. And it's about finding those little gems, which can be challenging to find. It's one of the biggest challenges most people have, is finding those niches which have a high need but low competition. So you could, let me just go back to Amazon All Books again, and let's just have another quick look. Just say we looked under craft, hobbies and home. We might go to home improvement and design. And then what we might do is have a quick look through here and see if there's any books, sort of low content or no content books, which we might be able to create. So we have a bit of a look through, and you might need to type something here. So this might be, if we look at, these gives you ideas, but we might say home improvement logbook for, let's just go teenagers. I don't know what this will bring up. Let's have a bit of a look. Okay, it's only got 18 results. Now, if we had 5 results on here with a BSR under 150,000, it would be a very good niche to get into, but I doubt that it will be. So we've got 1. No. So that shouldn't be under home. So see what you go through and you go, no, I don't think that would be the niche I wanted to get into. But if you just did home improvement logbook, you just never know what that might bring up. So it's got 5,000 results, so it's a little bit high than what we wanted to, but you could have a look through here as well and see if there's any books under that category. We're not really finding any in this bit here, but it's not to say there couldn't be something that you might want to do. It could be a car logbook maintenance, and that's going to be 40,000 results. But if we did 4 like that might reduce the results, or might even do, if we do for women, that might change the results as well. So it brings us to 10,000. We would then have a look and see how many are on here, and we need to obviously keep record of that. And that brings me on to the next point about when you're doing your niche research. Again, watch that video. I talk about tracking your results. So let me bring up a spreadsheet I've created for free for you as well. So this tracker, which I've created, and it will be available in my Gumroad store. I'll leave the link for you. But what we're wanting to do is to track all information from this spreadsheet. So I'll just go back to the presentation. I'll talk about that, and then we'll come back to this spreadsheet as well. And when we're doing our niche selection, as important it is to find those niches, you need to make sure you're tracking the books. And what we need to do is find, go into a certain niche. We need to write down the keywords that we're getting. We need to record whether what we call a long tail keyword or a short tail keyword, the average BSR we list down, the search results that we're getting, and also how many books under 150,000 are on first page for that BSR. Then, so I've got the rules there. Then what you would do is color code them. So you would use green if it's a little competition or low competition, high need, medium competition, high competition but still okay, or the competition's too high and you'd rule it out. So you would use this tracker so that you can actually keep a list of the keywords that you're researching, and you can actually do a filter and use those for future as well, because niche research does take time. And again, I point in that video about the process I go through to select the right niches and to make sure that you're choosing those with the high need but little competition, because if you get that wrong, you spend so much of your time creating your books and they'll never be seen. So that's the importance I put on niche selection. It is a critical element, but along with book creation of your cover creation, that will be another critical component. But if you don't get the niche selection right, then you don't stand a chance of anyone seeing a great cover anyway. So that's one of the important steps. Now, the next thing we need to look at is our interior creation. So we've got no content interior, which I mentioned is the lined sort of paper and the sort of more blank journals with no information in them. You've got the low content interiors, which has more information and more details. Every page has writing on it. For example, it might be log books and things like that. So what do you need to consider when creating your interior? Well, you need to think from the customer's perspective. And I've created 2 videos about how to create the interiors on Canva. So Canva is free, and you can also look at the video about line notebooks and how to create them for free as well. So I'll talk a little bit about the interior creation, but those 2 videos are going to be really important for you to go into depth or to see in depth how they're made. But you can go onto Canva and create a free account, and therefore, you can actually start creating the interiors using the information from these 2 videos. And it's a really easy step-by-step process that I'll walk you through. And the main considerations that we need to think about when we're doing our interior is that it's going to capture the attention of the customer. It's going to be what they are looking to purchase. Is it something that they can is it going to be a one-off use, or is it a gift book? So they're the kind of features you need to think about with that as well. But let me quickly jump onto BookBolt, and I'll show you a really quick free way of creating an interior that you can use immediately, and it creates all the information or all the formatting immediately for you. But before I do jump onto BookBolt, I just wanted to show you the different sizes as well that we can choose, and that will obviously impact our interiors. So we've got the 5x8, 6x9 are the popular sizes, 7x10 is quite popular, 8x10, and definitely 8.5 by 11 inch. And with your black ink and white paper interior, you must do it between 24 pages and 590. And there are hardcover options, and I've done a video about hardcover options, but for the time being, let's just focus on the paperback. So let's jump on BookBolt now, and I'll show you about the resource which is free to use. So BookBolt, it's bookbolt.io. I'll provide the link. You can use elements just here for free on BookBolt, or you can pay a monthly subscription and get a lot of information from it, and I use it all the time. I've created a video about a tutorial about BookBolt as well, and the investment I've made into that software for my book KDP books, and how much that has actually allowed me to scale my business. So let's have a look at the interior. So we go to Resources, Interior Wizard, and then this will give us a number of different options which we can choose from. So we go to Interior Wizard just here, and then this will give us so the size. So if we were doing a 7x10, which KDP allowed, so let's do 7x10. We're going to do 100 pages as an example. You can do 200 if you wanted to, but let's just do 100 pages. And what we do, you've got the option of being a subscription, which gives you all of these ones as well. But for the free version, you can choose any of these other ones here. So the no content would be using something like a journal or college rule paper, music sheets like that. Or low content could be monthly to-do lists, chores lists, savings tracker, things like that. So let's go back. Let's just do a journal, and I'm going to show you what that looks like to start with. So if we go to, we'll do the 7x10, no bleed. So we got bleed and no bleed. No bleed, just stick with that for the moment. 100 pages, and we push download, and that will give us our manuscript immediately. And all you need to do is go up here and download it to your file. And when you upload your book to KDP, it'll ask you to put the manuscript in, and we'll go through that process soon. And it's got it all here. So it's nice and easy. I've also created some manuscripts for you, which you can just download for free as well. If you didn't want to go through this process, I've got them on my Gumroad store. And on my Gumroad store, I've got graph paper, notebook interior, so 8.5 by 11 by 100 pages, handwriting pages, half picture, graph paper there. There's quite a few different ones that you can actually just download for free off this, and then you can use that for your book creation. So I've already done a lot of this for you if that was something of interest. So if you want to do a notebook 7x10 by 120 pages, I've already done the interior for you. So there'll be a few references to my Gumroad store as we go through this tutorial. So there are different options there on BookBolt to create the no content interior, low content interior. I've got free templates which I've already created for you on Gumroad, but you can also use canva.com for free to create your interiors as well. So I'll quickly jump onto that, but I do cover it in depth on this video there. And on canva.com, again, I'll provide the link. You can simply do a free membership, and you sign up here, and then you'd go directly to the Canva page, which I'll go onto my account now. And then what we would do, go create a design, custom size, make sure this is in inches, do 7x10 if that's the size of the book we wanted to create, and then you can then start to do your creation. So you've got different elements which you might want to use. So just say you wanted to have shapes, type shapes, all the different shapes that come up, and you get to do all the different designs that you want to do. If you had different templates that you wanted to utilize, if it was a say a kids theme, then you can use elements. Now the main thing is with Canva, you can use Canva for commercial purposes, but you can't just use this template. You must make adjustments to it, add your own theme, add different elements to it as well. So whoops. You would add all your bits and pieces onto it. You'd go to elements, you would add circles, you would do whatever you want to create your cover. But remember, I do have some great videos about cover creation as well. But right now we're looking at the actual manuscript side of things. So you can bring it back a bit if you just wanted to get rid of all of this and you wanted to have, workbook line or grid lines, or whatever you want to, you can add all these elements on here as well. So it just depends if you've got a free version or pro version, what you can do, what you'd like to create. So there's so many different options you can do. See how it says pro here? Then there's different options. You can use the free. As I said, there are a few limitations that come with it as well. So if you just wanted to use the free background, then you can use that. Or you can change it up and do whatever you like to. So I'll just try and grab one of these ones, if that might be white. So we need to make that go back this way, back colors, and then you can create your interior, whatever design you want to do. And it's such a great way of doing that, and then you just keep adding pages. Then if you wanted to add multiple pages, you click down there and you can duplicate the pages as well. You can be very, very creative with your interior. Then you can also make the name of it, so it might be a 7x10 manuscript, like this, script, if I could spell, and you might just have kids ref journal, whatever it might be, and you could then do all your pages, you can multiply them, and you can create your manuscript, and all you need to do is go download and then save it as a PDF version for your manuscript. That's the important element of doing your manuscript as well. But remember to please watch the videos that I've already created about interiors, and these are very easy to follow. So let's move on to the next step. Wrong way. So cover creation. Again, you can use Canva to create your covers. And the importance of cover creation design is critical. And I've mentioned it, and I've gone into depth on this video here about cover design. And I talk about the things that are so critical when you're creating your book cover, including the graphics, the colors you use, the title, the font. And so that video goes through all the elements that you need when you're creating your covers, what customers are looking for, the things that people get wrong, and the things that you need to do to make sure that it stands out. And you can do that cover creation again on Canva. And it would be as simple as creating your design, go to your custom size, or you can even click book cover size. But we do custom size because we want to make sure that we're doing the exact size that we want. So if it was 7x10 inch, that was already there for us, it would be the exact size that we need. However, one of the important things you can do a picture at a time, and then you can use Book Bolt, which I've got a video about creating books with Book Bolt, or you can create the full cover using Canva. So what you would do is use what they call a cover creator. This is on KDP, and it's a calculator. So for example, if we were doing a paperback and we were doing a 7x10 inch, and it was 100 pages, then this will actually calculate and provide us with a template. So let's do this now. It calculates it, and we've got, this is the, so 14.475. So we would go back here, we do, if we go to a brand new, let's do a brand new one again, and we were to type in inches, 14.475. Then we go the height, which is here. So we go 10.25 inches. 10.25 inches, and we go create new design. And then this would bring up the full size of back cover, front cover. And we can then create a design based on the template that they provide us. So we would then download the template, and then once it provides that template for us, we could then place it on Canva. So it will bring it up down here, and we download that, and I'm going to show you how I upload that to Canva. So once I have that template, I go back to Uploads, Upload Media. I would then go to that document, and I'll just go into here, book size templates, paperback, and this is the one here. Now it would open it up for me. I'd click on it, and I would stretch it to where I need to go. Then I can bring that down a little bit. And if you can see, we need to make sure that we don't have any writing going into this peachy sort of pinky color. And we need to ensure that our book stretches all the way down across the side. Now, I won't go into full details about creating this book because I've got that video which goes into depth about how to create that book for you. So this is the template you can just download to make sure that you're getting all the elements correct. So if we were to use this Unicorn Primary Composition Notebook as an example, we could use that template, put over the top. Actually, that's the wrong size. This is a 7 by 10. So if I used an 8.5, I'll show you what I mean. So I've just uploaded an 8.5 by 11 template from the KDP template calculator. We do it like this, then we would reduce the transparency and we can see that there's no writing inside that peachy sort of pink color. And also the barcode just going to be down here. We don't want to have any writing over that. So that just ensures everything. And also we just want to have all the other elements in place so that we don't get knocked back up by KDP when we're doing the book cover creation. Book cover creation and also the manuscript. We just need to make sure it meets all their conditions. Now the next important section we need to quickly cover is the title and subtitle creation. And we're making sure we use keywords in our title and subtitle so that they actually get ranked on Amazon. And we also need to ensure that we're not infringing on any trademarks, copyright as part of our title creation. So let's have a really quick look at this and what this actually means to us when we're creating our title and our subtitle. So if we go back to our niche research, and we were finding out that cursive handwriting workbook for kids age 8 to 12 is something that we'd like to create, we found that this long tail keyword has a good BSR average, little search results, and plenty ranking on the first page. So we know that people are sort of searching for this. So we need to include these words and then potentially some of these words in our title as well. So a cursive handwriting workbook for kids age 8 to 12 could potentially be a title, but we might like to adjust that as well. So if we were doing we'll just use this right here, and we're doing our subtitle, we need to think about what customers are searching for. And we need to make sure that these keywords are going to be used effectively when we put it on KDP as well. So cursive handwriting workbook for kids. We could potentially call it cursive handwriting book for kids aged 8 to 12. That would be okay for the title creation, and the subtitle could be it could be ABC letter tracing for kids or students. So what we're trying to do is bring in those keywords from our niche research into both the title and the subtitle. And it's important to try and bring those words in so they actually rank on Amazon. But what I don't want, or I would never encourage anyone to do, is use words in their title or subtitle that might infringe on trademark. And so what you should do for each of the books that you create, you need to do a search on USPTO, which is the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and I'll leave a link in the description about this. What we would do is go to the website, which is up here, and we would go to search our trademark database. We would go a basic word search, and if you just did letter tracing for kids, you put that in there, nothing comes up, right? Then you can go back again. You might want to choose, let's have a look at our title back here. So we had cursive handwriting book. So we go back and we can put that in there and see if that brings up anything at all. It doesn't bring up anything. So that's important that we check, because if you wrote something like Disney cursive handwriting. That word Disney, it may not come up on this search, but if you just wrote Disney or used anything to do with major companies, then you could get yourself in trouble. So always do a search, and even go onto Amazon and do searches as well, just to make sure you're not infringing on any trademark or copyright, because you can get your account terminated pretty quickly by not doing the right thing in regards to titles and subtitles. The next area is in regards to book descriptions. So when we go onto Amazon, and I'm going to show you in a moment, we need to ensure that they're grammar error free. They include a strong heading, include key product features of the book, and are well formatted. So this video here that I've created, and I'll provide the link, goes into depth about how to create the book descriptions, but also how to format them, because there's a special technique that you need to, or Amazon have actually now created a way within loading up your KDP books that will allow you to create a better way of formatting your books. So if we were to go into here and say cursive handwriting book for beginners, and if we chose one of these, let's just choose, let's go one. This one looks like it's going pretty well. So it's by Modern Kid Press, which is a well-known brand. So if we go onto their book, then notice how it's got a nice heading. So the cursive handwriting work for kids, and it goes straight into the information and attracts you immediately. So the cursive handwriting for kids workbook helps kids and beginners practice and sharpen their cursive handwriting skills. And notice how it flows nicely. They've got dot points about the product features, and then it finishes with a nice information as well. So that is the description of the book, and you can do it two ways. You can write it up, and you can format it when you go into KDP. It'll allow you to do that. But there's also another site which I'll quickly show you now. And Kindlepreneur, I'll leave this link in the description, but you can place your information in here, and then you can use all this information to format it. So if you were to, I'll pause it and I'll write some information quickly. So just say you were doing a cursive handwriting book and you'd write it in Word document, copy it, paste it here. Then you can do this as bold. Then you can have this bold, for example, as well. You can do italics. You can add dot points as well. So a bullet list, and then it creates your text. Then what you do is generate the code, and this brings up a HTML code, and then you can put directly into your KDP when you're loading it up. It'll all make sense later, but if I just copied that, for example, and I was pasting it back into a Word document, then that's what I could do. So let's make sure it's copied. We go to a Word document, and then we could just do that. And then this would be the code that we'd place into KDP when we're doing our description. I'll show you a bit later on. And we'll go into more depth later, but this is the area where you would paste that HTML code like this, copy it, you would paste it. So this is when we're loading up our book. This is the form that we'll use, and I'll go into more depth later on, where our book title, subtitle, author details, and the next area we can look at either 7 keywords here as well. So this is the next section we just need to make sure that we get right when we're loading up our book. Now, I created an in-depth video about the 7 keywords for KDP, and as I mentioned just before, that's the box that we'll be inserting them in. Now, we're making sure we use relevant keywords. If we're doing a cursive handwriting book for kids, we wouldn't include something like a notebook for kids that like dinosaurs. It's just not relevant. We need to ensure that when we're doing our niche research, we will come up with different words in our niche research that we can then enter into our 7 keywords. and I'll go through that when we're uploading our book. I'll show you what that looks like, but use keywords that you couldn't include in your title or subtitle, and just don't overthink the 7 keywords. This video is a great one which goes through all of that information for you and will highlight where to get the keywords, how to enter them in there, and has been really well received. So ensure you check that video out right there about the 7 keywords, but when we go through the process of uploading our book, I'll show you what that looks like. So the next area that I want to cover as part of KDP book cover creation is our categories. Now, when we're loading our book to KDP, we need to choose the right categories that are reflective of our book. There are more recently times where I've seen people receive notification from KDP that if they're choosing irrelevant categories and trying to almost game the system, that they can actually get their account suspended or even terminated, depending on the seriousness of it. So make sure you do the right thing and think long term about the categories that you want to choose. So if we're choosing, if it was say letter tracing, a book for kids, then we would have to find where, or it would be under juvenile non-fiction, and we need to try and find where that would appear. So there is a quick little method that we can try and find the best way of picking the right category for our book. And I have made a video about categories. It's this one right here. Again, it goes into a lot of depth about it, and I just don't have the opportunity in this short tutorial to go into the depth that I do in that video, but let's just have a very quick look at the way you can get categories for free and also a paid way as well. If we go back to Book Bolt, then you just go to Resources, KDP Category Finder, and this will allow, so if we were doing handwriting, which is in a category that we want, then BookBolt would provide these different categories right here. So we could go to juvenile non-fiction language arts, and we could go into that. So actually, let me just go back one time ago. Let's choose this one. So juvenile non-fiction language arts handwriting. Juvenile non-fiction. We go down to language and handwriting, and then we can choose that. So that would be a relevant one for us, and you can use this just to type in different things. So alphabet, for example, that might be an area, and there we are, categories. So you get to choose 2, and you can use that method. The other method would be to use a Publisher Rocket, which we actually haven't gone into using Publisher Rocket yet, but I'll give you a quick little look into that now. And this is the main dashboard for Publisher Rocket. As you can see, there's different ways that we can use it for keyword research. There's Competition Analyzer. I've done a full tutorial about Publisher Rocket and the way that I use it, and it's incredibly useful for me. What we're looking for this part of the tutorial though is the categories section. So if we were to just wait for this to load up, and we were to go into, I'll just pause this for a second, and we were to choose book, and we were to go say alphabet, then it brings us up with the full category as well. And you can use this for all the different categories that you want to search for, and it's very, very useful. So you might have education, so you can go education training, and you can find out what categories, how they're rating. So what is the what BSR would you need to get to achieve sales like number 1? So to achieve number 1, you'd need to sell 1,109 books to achieve the number 1 ranking in education and teaching, studying, and workbooks. And if you were to achieve 10th ranking, you would need to sell 123 books for the day. So this gives you some really good data. You can filter it the other way. So in this one, you'd need to sell, if you're doing a book in regards to higher and continuing education for medical school guides, you'd need to sell 4 books to get to #1 ranking. But don't game the system and try and use, say, this category and do a kids writing book, because that is a way you could potentially get your account suspended or even terminated in the worst case scenario. The main things I want you to remember in regards to categories is to keep it relevant. Ensure that you get the opportunity of choosing 2 different categories, but I do have a video about adding more categories to your book. So that's a lesson or a video that you need to do, and I do help in regards to that for this video just there. And you can use Publisher Rocket or BookBolt to get the categories for free, just so you don't get confused, because it can be hard searching through all those categories that Amazon or KDP have to try and find those right categories for your book. And now we come to the fun part, and this is the uploading process for KDP. So all the things we've been talking about in the tutorial, we're now going to bring together and upload a book so that you actually get to see the full process, and I can run through it. So let's move on to that part now. So, oops, go this way. I'll go back actually one. So we're going to go into KDP right now, and I'm going to load up a book and show you through that process. There's a few things that I have prepared before I start loading my book to KDP. So we have our account, and what we need to do, we would start the process by getting, so we'll run through it quickly. I do have a video where I talk through exactly the KDP upload process, but we would choose the language, the book title. So what I have organized already is the information on a Word document. So I would simply copy this and I would place it into the area there. So what I've done is I've determined what the title is, what the subtitle is, and I've got it nicely written down. So all I need to do is go through and add those details there. You don't need to worry about a series unless it's being added to a series or an edition number. The author, now you can have different pen names depending on what you publish. So for this one, let's call it the tutorial for my designs. It could be anything, but this is just going to be our author name, and you could call it whatever you like. Contributors, if you had someone else that contributed to the book, you do that, add that there. In regards to the description, now this is where I converted the description to HTML code. Now I've just done another one, so I got this information here, went to that converter which I showed you earlier on, and I converted it into this HTML code here. So what I would do is copy that, and I'll just make sure it's got all the details there. So I would copy that. I would go back to KDP, Control V, and it pastes that HTML code there for me. Do I own the publishing rights? Yes, I own the copyright. Now the keywords, I've already noted them down here. So I'll pause this video and add these in. So these are different keywords that I go over in my other video about finding the keywords that are going to be best to rank your book. So make sure you watch that video. So let me just add these ones in now. And those keywords have now been added to the section there. The categories, so we would just need to make sure that we find the right categories for it. So probably composition and creative writing, and probably even could be journal writing. So I'm going to add those under my 2 categories for this book. So we go save. We can choose 2 in regards to the categories. So we save those. Adult content, this book is just a composition notebook, so no. We would save and continue. Then the next section, this is the ISBN. So an ISBN is the identification number of your book. With KDP, you get to get one for free. If you use other platforms, you do have to pay a fee for that ISBN. So we assign a free ISBN, and therefore it's free. You can use your own if you wanted to, and you could enter those details there. The publication date, I normally just leave that blank. Now the print options we have, we're just going to be using the black and white interior with white paper. You do have other options you can choose here. Again, I go into detail about the different options on the video for loading your book to KDP. The trim size. Now this is where we need to make sure we utilize the right trim size depending on our cover and our manuscript. So we chose, or this book I'm doing, the composition notebook, is a 7x10, so we'd choose that one. We're doing no bleed, and we're doing a gloss cover. So that's where it's nice and shiny, and the matte cover depends on the durability. I find that the gloss cover has greater durability. The upload the paperback manuscript. So what I'll do is I'll upload that process here now, and I'll just click here. So I've already created the manuscript based on the PDF that I was able to get from BookBolt. So I would then choose the composition notebook final manuscript. I would open that. That's a 7x10 inch. So we just wait for that to load up. It can sometimes take a couple of minutes. Then you have a choice of either using the Amazon cover creator, or you upload your own, and it must be in PDF format. So when you do save your cover usually in Canva, make sure you save it as a PDF. So we were going to upload our own, so upload a cover. We're going to use just a simple cover that I made called a marble composition notebook. So we're just going to open that up. So we'll just wait for that to load. And you'll see this come up here. So it's processing and processing the cover. I always wait for the cover to appear here. If you click Launch Previewer, which is the next step too early, it can take quite a long time. So I always just like to wait for this. And it can take anywhere between 3 or 4 minutes up to 10 minutes. So I'll pause it until this is actually loaded up for us. The cover has now successfully uploaded. You can see it right here. So the next step is go to Launch Previewer, and we get to see and ensure that all of our details meet the specifications. Let me just sign back in again. And what we see here is the information. So if this was submitted through to Amazon, it would actually come back with not a favorable response. Even though it's cleared it, you can clearly see that the letter K is outside this area just here. So what we would need to do is go and fix that back on the cover, on the creation on Canva. So let me show you what I would do to fix this, because yes, it's cleared it here, but I know that it would bounce back, and it's a good lesson to actually show you what we need to do to rectify this. So I'd go back to the original cover and make sure that I move this so that it's going to be in the right area, and then I would save it and ensure that it's correct on the cover when I re-upload it. So I've re-uploaded that image. I would get that, this is the new one, and I would stretch it up, stretch it down there, move it across, and fit it into position. And now we're ready to go again. So I would then go here, I would save as a PDF print, and then we can actually get it ready to go. So because it didn't meet that specification there, I would exit and I would reload after I've redone the new cover. So I would then upload the cover again. I've redone it, and I would make sure I've got the right one, open that up, and I'll ensure it actually meets that specification. Now I'm glad that error came up, because it's a common fault that people have in regards to their launch of their cover and not meeting the right specification. So I've attached it again, or reloaded it. Let's launch the previewer now and see if it still meets, or if it meets the requirements that we have to make sure everything fits in the right line. So it says it didn't pick up anything. That's much better. See, no writing goes over that red line, and we can have all of our picture elements which extend all the way to the edge. So that would meet the specifications. Let's just have a look at our interior. That's our, this is just a no content book, so that's all it's going to be. We approve it, and then we'll go through to the next section, which is actually the pricing of it as well. So we scroll down. This is the printing cost. We'd save and continue. And then this will take us through to the next page to enter the pricing. So our primary marketplace is going to be probably Amazon.com. We then have a minimum cost is $3.82. So if we did $5.99, then we would receive a royalty of $1.30 per book. Now, the pricing side of things, you need to determine whether it's going to be competitive. You don't want to launch too expensive or too cheap. You just need to look at what your competitors in your niche are charging for their books, and you need to make sure that it's priced correctly or accordingly to what the market is telling you. So for a composition notebook, probably $5.99 is about right. And expanded distribution, if you're not using a group like Ingram Spark, then you can tick it. Or if you are, then you just leave that unticked. And then you just work the way down and determine what your pricing might be. So you might want to change this to $4.99. That might be $5.99 as well. And you just make your way down and determine what your royalty is going to be. And then you can change the prices accordingly. So I can just go down here, do this, adjust it, and you're not going to make much in Australia, so you might want to put that at $10 or even $10.99, and then that brings up $1.84. And they're the details of what you do. Now, when you're ready, you can go publish your paperback, and it's launched. And then what you'll end up doing, you'll have to wait a few days for it to be approved and go through the review process. And that can sometimes take 4 to 5 days, sometimes longer during busier times. And I know you think that once you push publish, it's live. You have to wait for Amazon to send you an email to confirm that your paperback book is published and ready to go, and it'll provide a link in your email that your book is now live on Amazon, and you'll be able to see it on your dashboard when you go to Bookshelf. Your book will be there ready to go. So I hope that has helped you in regards to loading your book to KDP. The next section we're going to move on to now, as we get sort of closer to the end, is your marketing side for your book. Now, a lot of people think that when they launch their book, that it's suddenly going to become available, or people are going to be able to see it, but it's not always the case. Now, it is thought that Amazon will give your book a little bit of a boost for the first 30 days when you do launch it, and it depends on the niche as well. And when it does give it a little bit of a boost, it might appear on page 1 or page 2 for a few days, and Amazon will determine whether there is any sales coming through, and it will keep it and start ranking it for your keywords. But I've always found it to be really important to get people buying the book as soon as my book is launched, because the first 30 days really helps you to get ranking on your keywords and those that you've chosen, your title, your subtitle, and in the 7 keywords that when you've loaded your book up as well. But I use Amazon Ads, and some people don't like to use them. I personally like to use them, and I've created a 4-video series about Amazon Ads, and it goes into depth about the keywords, how to set up your campaigns, a thing called ACOS, which is the percentage of what you spend to what you're receiving in book revenue, and then optimizing your ads so that they become more effective. That's more at an advanced sort of level. However, the video 1 and video 2 might be really helpful for you to begin with. Now, I use ads because they can drive initial sales, and driving initial sales will help get that book working and moving along. And I hear some people saying, look, I've loaded 50 books to Amazon and I haven't received a sale. Well, my first question is, well, what have you done to market that book? you might have some free methods, whether it be through Facebook or Instagram potentially, or you might have a YouTube channel that you promote your books on. But if people don't see them, how are they expected to buy them? And I find that Amazon ads will increase the relevance for my keywords, increases the reviews, because extra reviews means social proof, which lifts the ability for, it lifts it up the rankings, and people see that social proof and buy your books. And finally, Amazon marketing through the AMS service which they provide, it's the direct link to customers. So it's not as if they have to click on another link and then get to your book. Your book will appear as what they call a sponsored ad. And I'll quickly show you what that means. So if we jump onto Amazon and we scroll down, you can see where it says sponsored. So another one, sponsored. So this means that these people or these authors have been using Amazon ads to try and lift their book up onto page 1, and it's like a bidding system where you bid to be able to get your book up onto this level. And those videos will explain all of that information and what you need to do. So as you scroll down, these books are not sponsored, but these books here, they might be new books, though that was released on the 2nd of October 2021. So that's Amazon giving you that free little boost to see if people click on it and buy it. And that's the way that they try and see whether that book's going to be a seller or not. And if it doesn't sell, it starts to drop away pretty quickly. And there's another sponsored book there. So this book here and even this book here, they have been getting a little bit of a boost. And then you've got these bestsellers that are ranked at 106 that are a little bit lower than that, but they do have the orange tag of bestseller, which is attractive, and also the reviews, whereas this one doesn't have any reviews, and it may struggle to get anywhere. The cover's okay, but it's sort of not big and bold like some of these other ones here. So that's how Amazon works in regards to advertising, of getting your book up into these sponsored positions right here. So I would recommend looking at these videos, finding out whether you've got the budget to be able to use Amazon marketing, because I have found it to be very, very useful and it's worked for me. It can be expensive to begin with, but Amazon ads shouldn't be necessarily thought of a way to generate a whole heap of income from it, more to gather data about whether your book cover is working, your description is working, and to get your keywords and ranking and relevance working in your favor. So that's what the ads are really, really helpful for as well. So let's go on to the final area of our tutorial, and it's a really important one as well. And that's got to do with tracking your KDP sales and your publishing journey. On my Gumroad store shop, I've created these 2 free resources for you. So make sure you download them, because I've gone to a lot of trouble to create them so that you actually can track your goals, the publishing journey, and it's going to be very, very helpful for you, along with different sales and revenue trackers as well. I'll give you a really quick snapshot into what they look like, so they might be something. And this is the tracker that I think you would find really helpful no matter what stage you're up to in your KDP publishing. So this is the rules and goals. So I've actually got add your publishing goals here, add your 12-month publishing goals or your rules. So you do that. I've got an example of what that might look like. So in January, you might start to include information. I've done a bit of a snapshot of what that might look like. You might talk about any Amazon advertising you've been doing, whether your costs keep you on target, you're meeting your budgets, anything like that as well. So go through the whole year, including quarter overviews, and then all the way through till December as well. So that is the 12-month publishing tracker. So I'll show you the other document as well. And this one here is the sales, KDP sales and revenue tracker. And what you can do is every month you can add the units sold and the revenue. And as you do it, just say you did 14 books and you made $23 in January, then you might have sold 22 books in February and it was $34. It starts to tally up all information here. You can do your goals, and then it's got the income tracker here as well, and the books as well. So you can also get a pro version, which I've created. It's very cheap. It's only $3.99, but that's available on the Gumroad store as well, which I'll quickly show you where to find. And this is the Gumroad store here. So that's the 12-month publishing tracker, and then you would just go down to the free one just here. That's there, and then if you wanted the pro version, that's available there as well. So that's a couple of options for you to consider as part of your publishing journey. And as we draw to a close, just wanted to remind you that it's important to review those other videos I've created, because they're going to really help you in regards to adding extra information as part of this tutorial. Because without all of that extra information, you won't be able to get the full view of what KDP is like. As I said, from the very beginning, I wanted to condense as much as I could into this tutorial of 90 minutes, but it's taken me 12 months at least to get a hold of everything. And I've used all my experience, all my lessons, all my mistakes to bring that information into those shorter YouTube videos that will greatly assist you. And next year my plan is to create a full course where I go into so much greater depth about that. So if you have liked this video, I would greatly appreciate you giving me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'm constantly coming up with new content, ways that you can create, build and scale your self-publishing business. And it would mean so much to me that you could build your business like I have and sell more books and create that passive income. And it's something I love to do, and I love to share this information with you. I've got an introduction video which is on the screen as well, and hit the notification bell if you want to hear about more videos or notified about the videos I'm creating. So it has been a long video. For those of you who are stuck around, thank you so much. It's taken a bit of time to get this lesson together. So if you do like it, that thumbs up would greatly help me. And please make sure you download those free documents and utilize them to scale your business. So until I see you in my next video, look forward to seeing you then.